I've got a video today about the 9 to 5. The 9 to 5, the typical 9 to 5 that, the dreaded, well, it's not the dreaded. It depends on who you are, but the typical 9 to 5 ways of the corporate environment that exists. This is universal across the world, right? The typical coming in a certain way, saying the same old stuff. You know what it is, right? Now, you have to get your money, and it's all about getting to the bag, as they say. It's all about making sure that you're taken care of, and you're taking care of your duties, right? The 9 to 5 is a certain, I would say, thing that really has its way. If you've been in it for a while, it can be a bit monotonous. So I just wanted to play 2 videos, 2 different sort of perspectives. And I thought this is so similar to what I've gone through in my time of working. And I'm sure this will be relatable to a few other people as well. And there's another video, but this person is from the US, and I'm sure this person is relatable as well. And it's irrespective of background, irrespective of color, creed, however you want to slice and dice it. Be sure to hear the second video, but let's play the first one.
So I'm walking through Canary Wharf at night, and it's making me seriously nostalgic. Canary Wharf is where I started my career in banking, fresh out of university. Back then, we were in the office 5 days a week, non-negotiable. If you turned up at 9:02 a.m, you were officially late. The commute was like crossing the actual pits of hell. I'm talking literally thousands of middle-aged men in suits crammed into the Jubilee line. Your head is up someone's armpit, but you have to squash into the train because you can't be late for work. Meetings were always in person with that weird spider phone thing in the middle of the table. PowerPoint decks got printed off and handed out around the room to people in the room. Lunch was always eaten at the desk. When I go somewhere at 5 p.m, you'll be called a part-timer. And every Thursday at 4 p.m, there would be a drinks trolley that would be rolled around the office floor. And it was off to some bar somewhere at 5 p.m. that might end up in a nightclub. All in your office wear, by the way. And yes, you were still expected at your desk at 9 a.m. Sometimes people would just rock up in last night's clothes, which was the office wear from the day before. It's funny, as I walk through Canary Wharf this evening, on my way home from my evening sauna community bath, it all comes flooding back to me. Seriously, we thank God for hybrid working. I don't think I'll be able to survive going back.
That is the typical work life if you have ever been in a corporate environment. The only part, or a few parts, that I thought, I don't care where I'm at, I'm eating in my own space. Whether it's away from the desk, whether I go out and get food, or whether I pack food from home, I have to get away from the desk. I have to, because you have to be able to work and then eat. It's like work and play, as they say. I can't be sitting at my desk. I've done that when I was way younger. When you're in an office, you want to try and, be the type that's, what's the word? You want to acclimatize yourself to how people are moving. But eventually, no, I have to eat and be comfortable, and then I'll come back to my desk, But what she described was so spot on, because if you ever worked, like I say, within a corporate environment, Central London, for example, and this is just not, people from the UK, Central London, New York, any major city, the sort of mentality that exists, you may go to a night out and then you have to come back the next day, more or less at the same time, right? As you start at 9, for example, irrespective of the time you spent out the day before. It depends on the office, because sometimes you see offices where they'll be like, we're going to come in later. And I've had that. But for the most part, that whole mentality of, people coming in with the same clothes that they wore from their night out, people, being told, you're a part-timer because you leave on 5 on the dot when you finish your work. Well, I finished my work, but yeah, you leave at 5. It's just that whole typical, you have to play the game, as they say. And that's the part that, a lot of the time can be tiring for people. But, people put on the the game face to work. So it looks like, you're not being difficult, quote unquote. So it was one of those videos where when I saw it, I was like, yeah, this is memories, things that places I've worked, things I can relate to. And I'm sure things that people can relate to as well. Just the whole mentality, even that whole Thursday she was saying about bringing in, drinks. And there was one where I was working where they had like pizza on a Friday and beer and pizza Fridays. This is when I was working in central London, and it's the typical, oh, you're not going to eat it, or you're not going to drink. I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to eat it, but I've got food that I've already eaten, number one, and I'm already full, and number two, I'm going out to go and get some stuff after work, but it was all this, you're not going to have this. And if you don't have one or two slices, they're looking at you like, as if, is everything okay? It's like, everything is good. But the point is, it's just that whole typical way of the 9 to 5. If you want to move up, you got to, play the game. And it's like, yeah, I know the whole process. I know the whole mentality. But sometimes when you're in it, you're just in it. Every day you go Monday to Friday, if that's, your sort of routine. Whenever you're out of it for a period, that's when you have time to think, to be like, wow, this is a routine where it's just literally, this is how it goes. Even the hybrid work she mentioned, I think hybrid for me has been a brilliant thing. A lot of people will be like, oh no, we want to go back to the how it was. I'm sure a lot of employers are wanting that based on a lot of the, the news that's come out over the last couple of years since COVID. But I think the hybrid thing is a good thing. It shows flexibility. It shows the ability for, people to have, variation in the way they work. As long as the work is getting done, as long as that can be, tracked, then I think it's a good thing for certain jobs. Certain jobs obviously don't have that ability to work from home. But yeah, if you're in a corporate environment and you get the work from home thing, I think it's a good thing. I think once you finish work, you can then eventually, maneuver a little bit more easy, because sometimes the commute in and out, oh my gosh. Yeah, life is interesting. You need to work, obviously. You need to be able to make sure you're getting, yourself taken care of. But at the same time, there has to be at times a look at the sort of monotonous way the culture is. Because when I saw this, it made me go like, you work, you're involved in those environments, but it does make you be like, especially for me, like, oh man, I know exactly what she means. As long as the work is getting done, there should be flexibility. But it seems they will also want to control. That's one of the main reasons why they want people back in, mainly to scrap this hybrid work. But I think it's a good thing. But I've got another video, and this video for me, watch it and don't pretend like you don't relate to what this person is saying, even though you've got a job, and even though you're going to say, some people are going to say, oh, you've got to be grateful for what you have and grateful for a job. We're not saying you're not grateful, but just listen to what my man is saying, and then you hear my reaction after.
What the fuck are we doing on this earth, man? Every day, most of us wake up and go to a job that we really don't fucking like, but we can't really quit because we got to get the money to pay the bills that they say is important to pay. What the fuck is the point of this life, man? We go to grocery stores and buy food that God gave us for free. Why the fuck did we pay for lights? Well, that's just the way it is. Fuck you. I'm tired of all this "that's just the way it is" bullshit. This whole fucking system is garbage. America ain't nothing but a big ass fucking plantation, man. A big ass fucking plantation. What the fuck are we doing here? There are days I don't want to be on this earth. And I'm not saying I want to unalive myself and nothing like that. But I'm tired, man. It's like, what the fuck is the point of any of this? To work till we 60, 70 years old? Most of us ain't gonna fucking live to see 50. But we gotta work to maybe retire? Man, fuck you and all that bullshit, man. I don't give a fuck about who president, left, right, and all this dumbass shit. I'm tired of this whole fucking game, man. It's a big ass game. It's a big ass charade. America is a fucking plantation. I don't give a fuck what nobody got to say about it, man. This shit is exhausting. Like, I don't even want to look for another job. I'm gonna walk in there, they gonna ask me, why do you even want this job? Bitch, because I need some fucking money to pay the bills that they tell me is important to pay. The fuck out of here, man.
So you heard him. Some people are not happy with it. The process, the mentality, and the monotony of what work is. Look, everyone will have a different opinion, right? But this person right here, he has some points about work and obviously the meaning. Now, I think as humans, we have to be working in some capacity. It doesn't mean it has to be the typical way the economy has been set up after all these years, you know, when it was set up. Because prior to the economy, and if you go further back, we had to create ways to be able to live, food, how we had to source it, build our own homes, right? So it was always a thing to work, you know, make food in ways where you're having to make it from scratch. That was the thing before, like I say, economy, shops, all these things were created, the modern way of doing things, we had to work. So for that one, I'm sure that's understandable. But in terms of the typical structure, I think and I'm sure a lot of people, it's the structure of work, right? That get people, the type of work he could be doing, or the type of work he has done, or people, you know, who have this kind of gripe will have that kind of, you know, assessment, because it gets to a point where it's like, look, I just need to make ends meet. I just want to be able to pay for my, you know, roof over my head and clothes on my back and food in my mouth, you know, especially on top of that, if you've got kids, there's another thing to account for. So the annoyance of seeing every single time your earnings being ripped out per month or per week, however you get paid. So the frustration is there, you know, and it's not like this is a new thing. It's been like this for decades, right? So I understand his gripe, and I understand the issues, and him mentioning about, look, if I'm paying for groceries, why? God made this for free. But again, God did make it for free, and veg is for nourishing as well. So, and the herbs is for healing. So yeah, in terms of obviously being able to, you know, understand his point of view, I do. If you're in those positions where you're having to always figure it out, you know, you may have made, unfortunately, you know, people make assessments and decisions in life that can affect, you know, their position. And we all can be, you know, honest about some of the mistakes we can say we made. But at the same time, we have to look at it and say, hey, what can we do now to move forward in a better way? You know, how can we think of things? What mediums can we use to get our stuff, or to get another path to try and add more to where we are in life? You know, the normal average person is just trying to figure out the next move all the time. Okay, put money away for this, put money away for that, pay for these things per month. And once you can do that, you're good. But then people want to be able to have that money to be able to facilitate other things that they may want to do in life. And that's where sometimes the gripes come from. He's talking exactly about the way people think, but don't say it, or they may say it privately at home to their friends and family, you know. But it gets to a point where you say this, okay, what's the next alternative, you know? And there always can be a way to look at these things, even in the times of struggle, even in the times of frustration, to say, all right, cool, what can I do for a period that can give me a certain amount of money that I can now put it into something that can maybe put me in a different light down the line. The 9 to 5 is an interesting world. It's always been a thing. It's always something that we're accustomed to. But it has to get to a point where, if, you know, you have any kind of gripe, hold it down as much as you can for as long as you can. Keep earning as much as you can for as long as you can. And then obviously, if there's any kind of things that you may want to do moving forward, try and make those advances. Try and make those advances to different employers, or whatever it is you need to do. Put money away for saving, or for business, or to invest, whatever it is. But yeah, man, it'll be interesting to find out what people think about the 9 to 5, and what gripes or what things do you have that you're for, you know, when it comes to the 9 to 5. But like the video and tell me, what's your opinion?